Hello everybody, it's Lorraine Alternative Homesteading on October 29, 2025, and I wanted to get this to you guys sooner, but something happened on the way to the phone when the criminals use radio frequencies to knock me out, and I lose a couple of hours just sitting here doing nothing. So I received a testimony. It's like a mini testimony, but asking questions, and he describes a situation of which he was concerned. He was a little spooked about it, and he's asking questions. So he said, I've commented on your videos under the YouTube handle AZ Sasquatch Research. I wanted to share some testimony, but more so acquire some answers, or at least your opinion. As such, is most of this program spiritual, government-run, tangible type, or a combo of both? Personally, I can only speak for myself. I would say that it's a combination. Obviously, to have any of the stalking and break-ins happen, you have to be first nominated for a watch list. Who maintains the watch list? The terrorist screening database, the FBI. So without that list would not be disseminated to various entities, states, lodges. It's sort of like, once you get on the watch list, you're up for grabs, literally. And that's why it's so insidious, and also it's very difficult to have yourself removed from the list. From what I understand, you're on the list post-death. So even if you pass away, your name is never removed from the list. So all of the targeted people who have passed away, allegedly, their names are still on the list, which means that they can still be trafficked and utilized for insurance policies, false dossiers, and identity theft. So it's actually very insidious. I can only speak for myself in that when I lived in New Jersey, I believe that the FBI, the local police department, various, neighbors and stalkers and paid informants were involved. Other people have said it's military, it's InfraGard. These are military trained people. Where I live, they're total psychopaths here. I've never seen anything remotely like it. And obviously my subscribers who've seen some of my videos are shocked about what has happened here. But these people are into shock value and Satanism, and I call it bitchcraft. It's witchcraft, and receiving a response. So I'll go on to say, you claim that you noticed some odd things starting in 2018 to 2019, off and on. You noticed strange things like folks coughing in an overly fake manner, or outrageous street theater type stuff. And that is so common. I hear this from so many people, that you'll hear the fake cough. That's part of the gang stalking. But a bizarre thing happened to me a week ago. I was watching a TI video and had just read a comment about how the volunteer fire departments are part of this, and some must be given money by groups like the Masons because they're always got expensive new equipment. Well, get this. So I turn off my phone after reading the comment, head out the door to the grocery store, and as I'm walking at the light to cross, a small fire truck makes a left and flips its lights on, slows down as it approaches me, and stops right in front of me just before the entrance of a freeway on-ramp. He rolls his window down and asks me if I'm okay. Just like that, right? Oh, just some strange fire truck pulls up and asks you if you're okay. Baffled, I said, yeah. He said, okay, because we got a call about a guy in a white shirt over here. Yet after, they turn the lights off and proceed on down the freeway on-ramp. If they were really looking for someone with medical issues, why wouldn't they park, keep their lights on, and take a look around, like in the bushes around the freeway or on the street? Or radio their dispatcher and ask for more specifics. It was so bizarre. Not only that, but earlier that day, I was walking down the street I live on, and one of those large fire trucks turns onto a business that I was walking by. It goes around the island in the parking lot and goes back out only the street to head back in the opposite way. No lights on, like they just got a call and needed to head that way. It was as if they wanted me to see them. Not only that, but a homeless guy was sitting on the island in the parking lot, and he had a small fire going. So odd. Just coincidences. Or no, that is actually street theater. What happens is when you were watching the video about the volunteer fire department, you're being remotely monitored for what your attention is on. Your attention was on a volunteer fire department. And this is, this is instantaneous. This is through a computer. This is this is technology. I'm not technologically adept on all this, but I know that this is instantaneous. It's even before you have the thought. Okay, so that's why that happened. They alerted the fire department, who's on call because they're gang stalkers. They're on call, and they are paid to do this. I mean, I have it here. I hear like sirens in the background. It's like there's nothing around here. Where the sirens come from? I mean, in New Jersey, it was not unusual to hear sirens. In fact, I would never consider sirens as being part of my stalking or harassment in New Jersey because it's just so typical. But here, it's so ridiculous. So when you say odd or just coincidence, it's not a coincidence. It is not a coincidence. This is street theater. Okay? So he goes on to say, do you know anything about shape-shifting? Because the most bizarre thing was when I visited my older brother in San Diego several years ago, I walked into his hotel room and all the hairs on my body stood on end. Why? He was getting dressed just out of the shower, and he was heavier and fatter than he's ever been, with fat jingling all over his bare chest. He's 50. And he's got a small belly, but I'm telling you, he had way more blubber and fat than he ever had before. But it didn't look like regular weight that someone would add by aging or overeating. Not only that, here comes the eerie part. His voice was deeper. I asked him, dude, what happened to you? And he was laughing, talking about how he put on weight with age and high sodium diet, but laughing almost like he was enjoying me being freaked out. So I made an excuse that I had a call from my boss at work and that I'd be right back. I run out the door, seriously. I almost felt like, did I walk into the wrong room and this is someone who looks like my brother but isn't? That's how different he looked from the last time I saw him. It was as if he was shape-shifting. I trust my gut, and I was weirded out. So I ran out the room, called my mom to ask if she never mentioned that he put on so much weight. But she had no idea, even though she sees him much more frequently than I do. So when I returned to his room, we left for our day outing, me driving, and as the morning grew on, I noticed the holes, where his arm hairs were stemming out of appeared wider, and almost like his arms had goosebumps, for lack of a better term. But the final odd thing is that as the day went on, he slowly deflated, for lack of a better word. Not entirely. He was still fatter, larger, and different looking than the last time I saw him. But I'd say he was about 25 to 33% fat altered than when I first walked into his hotel room that morning, as if his body was slowly returning to normal. He blamed it on his diet, that he had too much sodium, if I recall correctly. And then the next time I talk to him via phone, I'm going to ask him what made him balloon up like that. What do you say? Thanks, Mike. Well, Mike, I had to do a little research on this because I remember that I have a book, a targeted individual book, where Eliza M. Parr talks about Gangstalking and Psychic Possession, Servants of the Master Builders of Illusion. Eliza Parr. And I read a lot of this book on my channel, so you can do a search for Eliza Parr, or perhaps I will leave a link in the comments, in the description section. So she has witnessed the shape-shifting. She has witnessed the darkened eyes, the eyes changing. She's witnessed this, and there are photos, some photos of it in this book, on the back and on the front. Gangstalking and Psychic Possession. Yes, in the front here, it's in black and white. So I'm going to read something from this book, but before I get into reading from sections of this book, because I don't want to make this video too long for you guys, I asked ChatGPT. I wanted some like real peer-reviewed research, and this was fascinating. Shape-changing hydrogels. This is for educational purposes only. This is a peer-reviewed research paper. Shape-changing hydrogels. It was published in the Advanced Functional Materials, Volume 32, Issue 39. And let me show you. So basically, the review article summarizes that hydrogels can change shape. Through swelling, bending, folding, twisting, and rolling under external stimuli, like solvents, humidity, temperature, light, pH, electromagnetic fields. You got that? Electromagnetic fields. This research paper covers the types of hydrogels, fabrication methods including patterning and 4D printing, shape-morphing modes, mechanisms and applications like in soft robotics, sensors, and valves. Then there was another research paper in 2019. Oh, that research paper was 2022. This one is 2019. Trends in polymeric shape memory hydrogels and hydrogel actuators. This paper focused on shape memory hydrogels, which is SMHs, and hydrogel actuators, their volume phase transition triggered by external stimuli, fabrication, motion, deformation strategies and applications, artificial muscles, and sensors. It's very useful for understanding the mechanism and how these hydrogels act like actuators, not just passive materials. Okay, so this is peer-reviewed research on something called hydrogels. that are involved in shape morphing, swelling, bending, folding, twisting, rolling, and can be incited by solvents, humidity, temperature, light, pH, electromagnetic fields. Okay, so that was pretty fascinating. And now we're going to go back to Eliza Parr. Because she discusses masters of illusion. Okay, and this is, I'm just weaving this in here, and I believe that I've already read this on my channel somewhere. So this is chapter 2 of Gangstalking and Psychic Possession. So it could be that your brother was possessed. He's psychically possessed. Chapter 2. You're going to love this one, guys. Freemasonry is the Church of the Serpents. The original maker of illusion and duality, the Serpents, along with Egyptian deities, still oversee the illusion which earthly Freemasonry manages and upholds. It is unthinkable to most that the very top use demons and fourth-dimensional energies not only to maintain control of the populace living within this illusory world, but to antagonize and subvert those masses. It's also unthinkable to most that these high-level Satan practitioners, either due to ritual practice, trauma, abuse, or invitation, allow fourth dimension, lower astral, or demons to possess and work through them. It is these omnipotent beings that run the world. Yes, that run the world. And as I mentioned in my one of my last videos about the devil, is these people are ruthless. King Solomon is revered by the master builders because he was bequeathed the keys to the control of the four earthly elements and the spirits of the astral and psychic worlds. That meant that he had control over them to affect the material world that we live in. The pentacle was the magical symbol, the access point to communion with these energies, and it's alleged that this symbol was given to King Solomon by Archangel Michael, inscribed on a magical ring. All the other sigils and magical incantations for summoning demons and affecting this material world via the demons who can manipulate the core, subtle, formless, etheric world, whose blueprints underlie and exist within the frames of this realm, but are too fast and fine for us in normal consciousness to see. This followed from the original knowledge gained by magical sigil on his ring. The legend has it that King Solomon summoned the demons and used their powers over the material and elemental world to build King Solomon's temple. Occultists and Satanists today still use these very ancient sigils and Hebrew incantations to contact the named demons, each of which their own particular character and dominion over facets of the ether and material world. Demons exist within the human brain and influence reality from there. How demons control people is by negativity. You hear that, guys? Negativity. External reality is projected by the human brain. What is held in the subconscious and often unknown to the conscious awareness influences external reality unintentionally. When one realizes the world we live in is influenced by what goes on in the subconscious, we can then know the mechanism by which demons influence external reality. The spirits of the Goetia demons are portions of the human brain. The power of one's subconscious mind to change reality has been harnessed by positive thinking methodologies and hypnosis, affirmations, and guided meditations, and is, karma permitting, not disputed. So I'm going to end on that note. And there is one other portion here. Let's see if I can find it, which I thought was interesting. Here, okay. Here we go. The arrogant, controlling, predatory power that comes of the left brain bias, psychopathy, is untreatable because it is due to a physical flaw in the processing area of the human brain, that which is associated with empathy. Untreatable. Will never change. The master builders are so afflicted and encourage this trait of ruthlessness through inherited psychopathy by intermarrying. They are wired up differently than empaths by cerebral design. These master builders, for the purposes of inciting wars for profit and control, activate by clever rhetoric, social conditioning, an older, less evolved part of our human brain that exists within us. This is the part that houses the flight or fight reactions needed for self-preservation of the animal, the hindbrain, sometimes called the animal or reptilian brain. It is retrogressive. When this part of the brain is dominant or energized, humans, even though capable of empathy, become disconnected from the expanded states, and so primed can resort to territorial or defensive attitudes and actions in desperation. So I'm going to end on that. I'm just going to repeat this one little paragraph. The master builders are so afflicted and encourage this trait of ruthlessness through inherited psychopathy by intermarrying. They are wired differently than empaths by cerebral design. This is due to a physical flaw in the processing area of the human brain, which is associated with empathy. And this is the arrogant, controlling, predatory power with their left brain bias of psychopathy. It is untreatable because it is due to a physical flaw in the processing area of the human brain that's associated with empathy. So to answer all the targeted people's questions, how can somebody do this to another person? This is the answer you were looking for. Their brains are not wired like yours or mine. They are arrogant, controlling, and predatory. It is untreatable. This is an untreatable psychopathy. It will not change. They do not possess empathy. Okay, so I'm going to end on that note. So to answer your question, Mike, people have witnessed shape-shifting. They have witnessed the darkening of eyes. You can see it sometimes on the news where people will suddenly change. Now, if this hydrogel theory works, this physical shape-shifting through these hydrogels, morphing, shape-shifting, shape-morphing hydrogels that change shape by swelling, bending, folding, twisting, rolling under external stimuli, humidity, temperature, light, pH, electromagnetic fields. It is definitely possible that your brother may be somewhat targeted, demon-possessed, or has these shape-morphing hydrogels within his body. Now, I cannot discuss on this channel Who else has discovered these shape-morphing hydrogels? But if we go back a couple of years to the time when people were wearing face masks, that should give you a clue about how they were located. And also because this research, these two research papers, one is 2019 and one is 2022. Okay, so that should help you. This is Lorraine, Alternative Homesteading, signing off for now. Please remember to hit the thumbs up. It helps the channel grow and get the message out there. And remember to subscribe if you haven't. And thank you all the subscribers. Remember to hit the notifications bell so that you receive notifications of a new video.